And first of all, thanks to all of you for turning up for this particular session. We know that we had many other options also, but in spite of that, you came for this. So we understand that this is also a topic which you want to learn more about or contribute more about. So thanks to you for joining. And I must also thank the organizers for asking us to have a session on open science. So maybe we'll have a quick introduction of the panel. So myself, my name is Arul. I teach at the National University Delhi. I'm also the co-director of the Center for Innovation, IP and Competition. And one of my research areas is open science, primarily on what all things we can do for fostering an open science culture in our country. That's one of my research areas. Let me also briefly introduce the other panelists. On my left side is Ms. Vinita Radhakrishnan. So she's a senior partner at Banana IP Councils, which is one of the robotic IP firms in the country. And she works primarily on biotech related things. She's also an alumna of Munich Intellectual Property Law Center. She has authored many articles in the area of intellectual property law. And today she will be speaking about one extremely important but under-discussed topic, that is participation of women in science. And what is really unique, what will be really unique about her presentation is that she has collected data on patents taken by women innovators. So this is the first, at least to my knowledge, this is the first time an effort like this has been happening in the Indian context. There have been some studies in the United States. There is a study conducted by Yale, but this will be the first time we receive Indian data on this. And she will be using that as an indicator to illustrate how far women is participating in science today. And then we have Dr. Kalyanji Kankanala. He's a founding partner of Banana IP Councils. And he's also visiting faculty at National Law School, Bangalore, as well as Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. And he also had his doctoral degree from National Law School, Bangalore. And again, he will also be talking about another extremely important topic, that is making science accessible for people with disabilities. And more specifically, he will be looking at the provisions of the Indian Copyright Act and see to what extent we are trying to fulfill the needs of knowledge-related needs of people with disabilities. And then we are fortunate to have with us Dr. Madan Muthu, who is a librarian at Asim Premji University. He was formerly working with the Department of Science and Technology, Center for Policy Research at Indian Institute of Science, and he also worked with ISB Hyderabad. And what makes him really special, and particularly for this panel, is he is one of the most vocal open access advocates. So today he will be talking about the different open access initiatives that have happened in India, particularly with regard to repositories, and more specifically what needs to be done on that front. And then we are also fortunate to have with us Dr. Anil Kumar, who is a librarian at IIM Ahmedabad. And he has previously worked with Nirma University, then British Library Trivandrum, and also with National Law School, Bangalore. Today he will be talking about, or rather I think he would be summarizing the discussions and contributing in one extremely important way, that is, he will be talking about the role of librarians in the open knowledge movement. So this is broadly the profile of the panelists. Since we have a small room here, maybe I would also like to know a bit more about the people who are sitting here. So you should introduce your name and also your background.
I am Dr. Ganesan from Tamil Nadu Agricultural University. I am professor in genetics.
Okay. Thanks.
My name is Gautam. I am a PhD student at Central University of Gujarat, and I have been doing a PhD in the area of science, technology and innovation policy. Open science is one of my research interests.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Hello, myself Kalpesh Makai, and today I am working as in charge of Atal Tinkering Lab at
Hello, this is Shanti Supana. I am Government Officer and Deputy Secretary of Bangladesh Government. I am working at the Access to Information program, and I am Nisha. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
My name is Premi Devi. I am a postdoc fellow at the Department of Science and Technology. And I am working at EDIS, Honorable President Institute of India, and my interest area is innovation.
Okay, thanks for sharing.
I'm Janaka Karnasenna from Sri Lanka, the Principal Scientific Officer and the Head of the Technology Division of the National Science Foundation, Sri Lanka.
Thanks for joining and making this panel international. So with that, I think maybe we can start with the first presentation. So what we are thinking is we'll have an initial presentations of 10 to max 15 minutes, and then we'll open up the floor for discussions. But feel free to interrupt at any point of time, because then there might be many issues where you might want to have a quick clarification also. So you are absolutely free to do this. Since we are a small room, I think you have absolute liberty in controlling how we manage this particular panel discussion. So I think this is not working, so I'll use the goal of my presentation is to briefly introduce the topic, and more particularly why we need to talk about open science today. And I say that we need to talk about open science primarily because science is facing serious crisis at multiple fronts. The most important crisis, as I see it, is the credibility with regard to science. So for a very long time, people thought that science is objective, science is truth, but over the course of time, thanks to different controversies like the ones which I have put here, including this Harvard, the sugar industry sponsored study and so on, people have started realizing that maybe not all is well with science. There might be many bad things also happening in the name of science. And many a times this is happening because of lack of transparency in science. And things have gone to this extent, that is, in some disciplines, say for example like psychology, nearly 70% of the experiments are unable to be replicated according to a 2016 study. That's really a bad indicator, right? Because if we have to say that something is credible from the viewpoint of science, it has to be replicated, or it is something that should be able to be replicated. And if 70% of the experiments are unable to be replicated, then yes, we really need to explore why that crisis is happening. Of course, the crisis is not just limited to India. I think it's global. But in the context of India, I would say it's even more severe. For example, if you look at the PubMed data from 2000 to 2010, you will see that papers from Indian researchers have some of the highest fraud and retraction rates. If you also look at a 2015 study on predatory journals, you will see that India publishes the highest number of predatory journals. Apparently, we are also the biggest contributors to those predatory. So basically a journal, so we call generally a journal as a predatory journal if the journal is demanding a payment in return for not reviewing your article. So essentially you just pay for your publication, and they generally don't go through any peer review process. So apparently around 35% of the authors contributing to this are from India. And of course, there are also some journals where you don't even have to write anything, they will publish something in your name, and apparently 30% of such journals are also coming from India according to a 2017 study. So these are India-specific statistics, but please be aware of the fact that the crisis is not limited to India, but it is also global in nature. I put these statistics specifically because we generally have a habit of denying that there is a crisis in science in India. So that's the reason why I wanted to have these statistics here. Of course, there is also another dimension of crisis in science, that is, maybe people are also not reading whatever we are publishing. So some studies say also that 90% of the papers which are published in scientific journals are never cited. And apparently 50% of the papers are never read by anyone other than their authors or referees. So maybe we also need to start asking ourselves, so then for whom are we actually trying to write? Or should we change the way we write? Yes, sir, you have to say.
Is it only for the science field or humanities and
Generally, so they just use the term scientific journals, so, and I think it is across the board. And as far as I know, At least I haven't seen a study which is trying to compare this, but I don't expect the results to be any different.
Because I read a study, it was said that 80% of humanities papers they are not cited even once.
Okay.
And compared to science,
Uh-huh.
12% are there which are not cited.
I see.
It's a 2018 study.
2018. So it would be great, I mean, if you can share that also, I think that would be really helpful for us. But the germ or the broader point, I think, which is also emerging from that particular study is that the number of citations are very less for most of the publications, and most of the times they are read only by authors, or if it is going for peer review, by the referees. So that's a broader take-away message. We should also ask whether the way we conduct science today is inclusive. And when I use the word inclusive, there are different dimensions of inclusiveness which are possible. One, of course, is gender. Is science inclusive in terms of gender? And of course, Vinitha will be talking more about that, so I don't want to go more into that. The other one is science inclusive for people with disabilities? Kalyan will be talking about that. Again, the general view is that it's not inclusive. And of course, there can also be other barriers like economic barriers in place. There is also another important dimension of inclusiveness, which I do not know whether I should be talking at in ICCG for conference, because that's one place where I see that it has been addressed to a great extent. That is, generally people who are working in the formal system have utmost disrespect for science happening in the informal sector. So we generally do not treat the innovations happening at the grassroots level with due seriousness. Of course, ICCG and Honeybee Network is an exception in this regard. That's the reason why it didn't come as the first one in my list. Otherwise, I think science is generally not inclusive in that dimension also. So in all these aspects, I would say that science is going through a global crisis. And it is in this context that the open science movement emerged. At the outset, I must also say that there is no uniform or universally accepted definition for the open science movement. So, for example, it feels like open access now, at least people tend to have some agreement on what open access is, but in open science, you don't see that. So, we tried to map different definitions of open science that exist today. There were, I think, more than 30 plus definitions. And we tried to come up with our own. We were just not adding one more to the list, but we were trying to see what are the common elements and what elements should be there. And the definition which we gave for our project, for open science in our project was, it refers to scientific inquiries wherein the characteristics of accessibility, transparency, usability, and non or minimal existence of IP restrictions are evident and exist throughout all stages of research. It is also characterized by openness to inclusiveness, collaboration, constant and continuous transfer of knowledge between producers and users of knowledge, and prioritization of research and innovation based on social needs. Because one of the other criticisms about the way we currently do science is we just look at the possibilities of publication rather than on the possibilities of solving a social need. So I think open science is also trying to address that particular aspect. Now let's quickly see